Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak. I'm joined by my two very close friends, Ralph Schrager. He's up in Belmont, Mass, and Ray Clifford. He's right on the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio. He's in Marysville, Ohio. And Ray, how you doing out there? As Ray gets up to reset the
Oh,
light. Ray is not only in charge of Jets Rewind grip, but he's in charge of our lighting too. Yeah, you look good there, Ray. How you making out?
uh, doing good. Been good days, weather-wise, not too bad. Having a little summer, revisit the summer a little bit. It's been in the 80s, but nights are nice and cool. So
Yeah, I guess it's an Indian summer. And Ralph, how you doing up in Belmont?
Yeah, Native American summer, right? We have to be politically correct here.
Yeah. So
It's really nice here too. I guess we're going to get more of your hot weather, Ray. So,
yeah, it
we
usually heads your way. So
we will, as Ralph is there as the two big happenings in sports, as Cam Schlittler went 8 innings for my Yankees and really handed it to the Red Sox. It was
local
great.
guys from Walpole, Mass.
Walpole, his father is I believe, the fire chief or police chief of Needham, Mass. So he's a
Ooh.
Red Sox blood through and through. It was nice. So that was big news for all you Yankee fans. And of course, I married a girl from right on the outskirts of uh, Fenway Park. So I have a couple of people that are mourning, and I just want to mention my son Jeffrey Schupak, a huge Red Sox fan and a big fan of this show, Jeff Brenner. Our condolences and condolences to Marty Schupak because I actually thought I was going to make headway in this suicide pool, but my Los Angeles Rams got knocked out last night.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Those bums, they missed an extra point.
Well, blame your hero, Mac Jones.
Yeah, and then they didn't go for the field goal and they could have tied it up. But that's what it is. But we talk about the New York Jets, and the New York Jets, they are hosting the America's team, Dallas Cowboys. And I guess maybe Ray could help out. The last time we played them, was that the game when Sam Darnold threw a touchdown pass?
No, it was just a couple of years ago
Mhm.
when Micah Parsons was all over the field. It was like the second game of the season. It's like 30-10. Yeah.
Right.
yeah, sounds
Okay.
familiar.
Was it up here or was it down in Dallas?
Dallas. It was in
Okay.
Dallas.
So we'll see. But it should be interesting to see how many fans in MetLife are Cowboy fans and how many
Yeah, I know.
Jet
They don't
fans.
have much of a history with the Cowboys, actually. I think they've only played them 13 times. And both teams started their histories in 1960. They entered the same year.
Right.
And Cowboys didn't win a game that year.
Yes. But Ralph has a classic trivia. But before we get to that, and Ralph, we have a treat because he couldn't come on the air. But right before he went on, I got a quick scouting report from Jack Cordero, who's down in Tyler, Texas, which I'll go.
Tyler, Texas, that's Earl Campbell's hometown.
Yes. But anyway, Braylon Allen is on the injured reserve. We don't know how serious the injury is. We don't know if it's a 4 week or season ending. The Jets signed this running back, Khalil Herbert. I love when the Jets sign someone, Ray, like after the season starts from a practice squad. You read some of these tweets and these message boards, and all of a sudden, these guys that are on the practice squad are cut. They become like all pros. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I really want to see him returning kicks. He's better than anything we got there. I know that.
Right, right. And we don't want Isaiah Williams to really see the field. But
I don't know why he's on the team. I mean,
yeah,
he's done nothing but bad stuff, and he's still on
and
the team.
and and you realize on that kickoff that he fumbled, somebody pointed out if he all he had to do was have 1 foot out of bounds, and they would have had the ball at the 40-yard line. If
Yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
could have done that, which if you remember, Leon Washington did that years ago. He was very smart of him on a play. So he,
Somebody did it in the NFL just last week or the week
yeah,
before. I
yeah,
thought I saw somebody do that.
yeah.
So
So it's just beyond belief the things that went wrong. All right, Ralph, you have a New York Jets classic trivia as we get into this. And we're recording this, by the way, on Friday, October 3rd at around 11 a.m. Go ahead, Ralph.
Very simple. Name a quarterback who, in his short career, only played for Dallas and the Jets.
You know what? I can't think of the name, but I know it. And I remember it was I
Was
think
it recent?
no. I think Parcells
About
picked
20
him
years
up.
ago. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
He was a
Not
he was a very good runner.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that guy, but I'll never think of the name. We'll leave that for
I'll
Ray.
give you a hint. His first name is the same first name as one of the best players on the Jets, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
someone Quinnen. Quinnen.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
close, Rayvo. Rayvo's close.
All
I
right.
think I know it. Yeah.
Okay, Ray knows. Wait, let's get right to it. Go ahead, Ray. Who is it?
Well, I can't. Quincy Carter.
Right.
That's it.
Yes. Out of Georgia. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
it.
he only played a
He's
couple
at
of games with the
Parcells.
Jets. Yeah. Parcells turned him into a playoff quarterback at Dallas for a year. You know, Parcells can do that with anybody. He's
Oh yeah.
uh
That was interesting. And how was he at college, Ralph? Do you remember?
yeah, he was all right. He was at Georgia. Pretty
Right.
good. Not great. He was a late round pick, I guess. Oh no, wait a minute. Actually, I think he was an early pick, like a
I think he
second
was.
round
Yeah, I
pick.
think he was a
Yeah,
high.
it's like a second round pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
A little bit for Dallas. I thought he had a couple of decent years with Dallas. I mean,
yeah,
not
yeah.
not outstanding, but
No, no.
terrible.
Right. All right. Anyway, let me just give a quick scatter report. A big fan of the show, Jack Cordero, who's down in Texas, and I've known him for a long time. We lived right next door to each other at Arizona State. A huge Dallas fan, and I wanted to get him on the show, but he had a business meeting right when the show starts. So he gave me a quick scouting report, what he thinks the Cowboys' strengths. Dak Prescott's having a good year. He's looked good to me too. George Pickens, the receiver, looks good. CD Lamb is out. Yeah, he's not playing. Also,
Uh-oh.
what Jack said something very big is that their right tackle, who's terrific, uh, Tyler Booker, he's out too. He's got a high ankle sprain. All right. Also, they have, unfortunately for the Jets, their two defensive backs, uh, Darren Bland and Javon Diggs, they're back from injuries this week. He says they're very good. Their safety, who's good, Malik Hooker, is out. So that's good news for the Jets. And since they got rid of Micah Parsons, Jack's saying that the defensive line, they really have absolutely no pass rush. They got Kenny Clark. He's been very, very helpful on the running game, but he's not that good on on rushing the passer. Another key player is Cavante Turpin. He's a kick returner. He said he's one of the best in the league. He's not playing. So that's good news for the Jets. Now, at this time of year, after 4 games, and the NFL starts to become a league of attrition, where guys just start going down. It's just unbelievable. We say it every year. So we're going to get to at the end of the show our prediction. The I'm sorry, the head coach is one of Ray's favorite people in the world, Brian Schottenheimer, who was our offensive coordinator. So I'm going to just ask Ray about some of his memories for from Brian Schottenheimer, and it's like what I always say, and well, actually Ralph says it that Ray never met a Jets offensive coordinator that he liked, and Marty never met a Jets defensive coordinator that he liked. So, Ray, I'm going to turn it to you. What are your memories of their head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, who Jack says he thinks he's doing a pretty good job with them this year?
Yeah, I think he does a good job. I think he was. I actually. Uh, he was one of the few that in the beginning I really liked. His first year or two, I thought he was outstanding. When I started, well, before I started, the year that I started really losing on him was the year we went to the championship game actually and lost to Pittsburgh. And I still, there are certain things that, like you, Marty, you'll remember. You remember when he dropped that pass, and that's me with this game when we were driving late. Sean Green was just wearing out the defense. He ran it down to like the 3 yard line or something. I thought just keep running it, and he does he tries, it wasn't a wide receiver screen, which he fell in love with those things, and he'd call a stupid one every game, one or two of those. But he tried a little slant pass to Santonio Holmes that had no prayer working, and then and then we went for it on fourth down. I think it was fourth down. Yeah, fourth down. And instead of using Sean Green, he tried to give LaDainian Tomlinson one up the middle to jump over the pile, and he never even came close. And I thought you just blew our best chance to get this game in our favor.
Would they have taken the lead on that?
I believe they would have. I can't remember exactly what the score was. I think it would have either tied it or it would have, it definitely
Yeah.
would have made the game.
They were buried in the first half. They came out
Oh,
flat from the New England game, and but they worked their way back into the game. And I remember we had a big third down against Pittsburgh, and then Roethlisberger rolled to the right, and he
Oh
threw a pass
God.
for the first down. And I remember Ryan takes his headset off and just smashes it on the
Yeah.
ground,
I,
and
I
that
yeah,
was it. That we haven't sniffed the playoffs since that pass.
that was a rough one. You're absolutely right. I remember that.
yeah.
Ralph, anything you could add to Brian Schottenheimer that you remember going back?
Well, he did have successful years, and it helps that he had a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much of the difference that makes to your offensive coordinator. I don't know, what percentage it was the offensive line and what percentage was Brian Schottenheimer's, schemes, but as far as like the last 25 years, I would say he was probably up there with I don't know, even Paul Hackett, who had a couple of decent years. I know people don't, they don't like the memory of Paul Hackett, but the team made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, so he was not even close to the worst offensive coordinator we had.
Right. Okay, Ray, I want to ask you, are we slowly seeing the emergence of I don't want to start, giving him accolades of superstar or star, but are we slowly seeing the emergence of a very good player in Mason Taylor, our tight end?
It appears that way. I mean, he, definitely last game showed that he can make, plays, and I just want to see him involve him to a point where he's making plays that are like game-changing plays, not just catching more passes, but doing something with it. Scheme some plays around him and see if he can, get him out in the open, see what he can do. I think he's trending in that direction. I'd like, got to see what they come up with this game, see if he builds on what he did last week.
Right. And Ralph, I want to mention too, I've referred to him because I don't like mentioning other guys or websites or podcasts, but I find this guy, Robbie Sabo,
Sable,
he really points out some subtle things. And he mentioned, if you remember that play that Mason Taylor caught and he split two guys and he leaned forward for the first down. I don't know if you
yeah.
remember that play. He pointed out how that was such an awareness type of play. But Ralph, your thoughts about Mason
Well,
Taylor?
he's where I expect him to be at this point. He probably won't get the numbers that he could get if he was on a team that had a better passing game and a better quarterback. But I think he's our number two option right now after Wilson, and this is what we kind of anticipated, and so hopefully he'll build on that.
Right. Ralph, Membo has gotten a very good grades. I think he got some good grades last week, our first round draft pick. But does it seem to you, Ralph, that the Jets come out, they run effectively in the first quarter, and then for some reason, I don't know if they're not getting the ball enough. It seems like they go away from some of their game plan, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard other people talk about it too, other Jet fans, that Brees Hall starts out pretty well and then he disappears. Part of it might be that they're falling behind, but it's still early in the game. I don't think they have to like totally change their game plan and go away from the run if it's working that early in the game. And now that Braylon Allen's gone, so we're going to see Brees Hall more. By the way, Khalil Herbert, he was a He played with Justin
He
Fields in
did
Chicago.
part of the
Yeah,
backfield. Yeah,
yeah. He wasn't bad there. He's, as Bill Parcells would say, he's short, but he's not small. But yeah, I think if the run game is working, I don't know. Dallas sounds beaten up, according to Jack Cadero's scouting report.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much more the Jets can get handed to them, but they'll find a way.
right.
uh, but yeah, I mean, if they can, run it early, run it. But you know, vary it. You don't have to like always go up the middle on first down.
Right.
Get Hall on the outside. He's much more effective there.
Yeah, by the way, Ray, Jack also mentioned their running back is doing pretty good. They picked up this Javante Williams.
Yeah, I always liked him. He had a
He-
bad knee injury at
Yeah.
Denver, but that guy, if he's healthy, he's good.
You know what? I just got a text from Jack, but I just want to mention, guess who he thinks and a lot of Cowboy thinks is the best player in the Cowboys right now? Going away, not even close.
George Pickens.
Nope. Ray, any guesses? When I tell you, you'll realize it. Not kind of a trick question, but I'll tell you, it's Brandon Aubrey who is their kicker.
Kicker. Yeah.
He is,
He's hitting from everywhere.
it's phenomenal. It's, if the game happens to come down to a kick, we lost. This
Well,
Yeah, I
is,
think, what do you hit? A 60-some yarder, right?
there,
yeah,
we're looking at 70 yarders. Something I don't know if the ball is juiced or what, but it's gotten crazy this year. 60
Yes.
yarders are standard now. It's just
I I just saw a clip of a high school kid down, I believe, in Texas who just hit a 66 yarder to win one of the state championship
yeah.
games.
I don't like it because you get one first down and you're in field goal territory. It just to me it cheapens it.
well, I read a couple of things during the week, Ralph, how at one time during their careers, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning got together and approached the NFL about doing something with the ball that the offensive units use. And apparently they made some sort of change. Now, as far as the kickers, they use a different
Yeah,
ball
they
for
do.
the
Yeah.
kickers, which to me, I think they should just use the same ball. It
Sorry.
doesn't make sense to me. I
Well, if that ball is the reason they're kicking further, I definitely agree with that. I don't. I just think that
I don't think
oh
that makes it an exciting game at all. It's kind of like I don't like the three-pointer too much in basketball because they use it so much. I just think that's what the field goal will be. Well, we don't have to, we'll just score 3 points every time and outscore them.
well, not only that. I mean, you got a team. You're ahead by a couple of points with a minute and a half left. The other team gets the ball to 25 or 30. They don't have to go very far to earn a
No.
victory. It's to me it
Yeah, they
cheapens the
only got to
game.
make midfield to have a
Yeah.
chance anyway. And yeah, I agree.
All right, Ray. Uh, you're not a fan of Brian Schottenheimer or a lot of offensive coordinators, and I don't know how you feel about Tanner Angstrom. And it looked like last week he had a good script for the first few plays. We were going down the field, until that fumble changed
Mhm.
everything. But looking at the Jets, what would you like to see them do as far as an offensive game plan? And Ralph, I'm going to get to you on defense. So go ahead, Ray.
Well, just I do complain about them all, but Schottenheimer was actually, as I said, I liked him the first couple of years. He was one of my favorites early on because he was so innovative on some things that we hadn't seen for the Jets. So that part about him I liked. It's just that he fell in love with some things that I thought killed drives, and he relied on things like the run up the middle and the wide receiver screen way too much. But anyway, Engstrom, I just want to see him be, you know, he seems to start out with a nice first drive. He's done that in a couple of the other games, but then he falls into more of a almost a vanilla game plan after that. And I want to see him stay aggressive and try different things. I think I said it before. I would like to have seen him kind of have a little bit of the innovation that what was it, Ben Johnson, the one who went to the Bears, the offensive coordinator at Detroit the last couple of years. I thought he would have learned something, a lot from him and kind of implemented some of that stuff and be a little more aggressive. I want to see him running to more to the outside or at least off tackle. I think part of the reason he goes away from it, their defense probably adjusts. If we just run all the time, they're just gonna
Yeah.
stop running.
And Ray, I would like to see, and I know he will keep running the ball if they have like successful runs one after the other. I want to see him mix it up and throw in a play action
Exactly.
with you have a moving pocket. We mentioned that
Exactly.
on the last show where Justin Fields might feel comfortable where he could roll out, and if you have like a two tight end offense, you could have both tight ends down the field. I think you have to mix it up. And I also want to add too, you know, one thing about the Jets, for the longest time, they're not a home run type of team on plays. And the
We don't
problem
have any home
is
run guys.
the long drives are great, but the more plays you have, the more of a chance you have to fumble at the goal line like Braylon Allen. You know what I'm saying? I
Well,
mean,
you can't call plays based on that though. You got
I
to go.
understand, I understand that, but I still think you got to get away from being too conservative and you got to mix in some, play action, even if you're successful. There's the old theory like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think you can't do that in the NFL. You have to innovate. Ralph, your feelings on offense before we get to deep.
Well, Ray was saying about how he would like to see that Tanner Angstrom implement what Ben Johnson did in Detroit, and maybe they feel that Justin Fields can't execute that offense. Um, yeah, as far as taking some shots down the field, I mean they used a fourth round pick, moved up to get Arian Smith. I don't even care if they complete one. I'm just waiting for them to throw something deep to the guy. I don't even care. I care if he's double team, whatever. You just have to loosen up the defense. And they haven't done it after 4 games, and they need to start. Or because, yeah, like you said, you can't count on them driving 70 and 80 yards several times a game. You got to get some easy ones, or you're not going to win very many games
Yeah.
that way.
All right, Ralph, what about defense? And one of the criticisms I have read about is that, and again, everyone knows Marty Schupak is no fan of defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. Do you think they can and they should blitz a little bit on defense? They might
Well,
get
I
a
mean, he
pass rush.
tried it at a horrible time. I remember a couple of weeks ago when you weren't watching that game. Aaron Rodgers in the first game was hitting these crossing patterns wide open, and every team has been doing that since, and they have not adjusted to it, which is really, really, really concerning. 4 games at this year. I remember last year, the Jets had these crazy sets on defensive line, and they were getting gashed, and they didn't adjust to that the whole year either. I think they have a problem with Wilkes, and I think, like we discussed in the last broadcast, that I think Aaron Glenn, if this continues, will really have more input on the defense. I don't think they'll fire Wilkes, but I think they need some fresh eyes on this if this continues. And Prescott's pretty good, so we'll see if they do the same thing.
All right, Ralph, if I said to you, if I broke it down, the Jets defensive line, the Jets linebackers, the Jets defensive backs, and the Jets safeties on what is their weakest out of those
Well,
four?
I don't think you can just pick one because I think the linebackers and the defensive backs have to communicate, and I think that whole dynamic between those two has been terrible. Like I said, these crossing routes, which are between the second and third level, I don't know who's responsible for them, but there's clearly bad communication going on there, and I think that's the biggest problem right now. I also think their pass rush is absolutely zero. Cordero, Jack said that the Dallas is as well. So is the Jets. So theoretically, we could have a lot of passing yards in this game.
Well, I
Uh,
think it's gonna, yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. And I'm developing some over-unders we're gonna get to. So I think you're right as far as that goes. Ray, what's your thoughts on their defense now going in against Dallas? And keep in mind that George Pickens is a heck of a good receiver. I hope that they put Sauce on him. But Ray, your thoughts on defense going in?
Uh, I have so little faith in this defense right now, but I am hopeful that the fact that CeeDee Lamb isn't playing will make it a little easier to corral Pickens a little bit. And Dak is not a bad quarterback. I know he gets, he being in Dallas, he's under a microscope automatically, but he's mobile. He makes good decisions. He can throw on the run. So we do have to get some kind of a pass rush, or he is going to have a field day on our DBs unless somehow they've been able to get them to, like Ralph said, the crossing routes killed us numerous times and continue to. They see that they'll do that all day long if they have to. Uh,
Is this
but
Ray? Is this the second game out of four that Quincy Williams is missing?
yes,
Okay, and we mentioned on
not
the
including the one he got hurt in. Yeah,
right,
Well,
no,
part of the one, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
yeah, and which is too bad because he, even though we mentioned he's not having a good season or didn't,
that's still.
but he's so missed. It's unbelievable how missed he is. You could just see the hole. Ray, would you blitz at all?
Well, I haven't heard that Jermaine Johnson's in or out, but I'm hoping he's
I
in.
I
I
think
know
he's
he's still
out
questionable.
from what
He's
I
out.
heard. I don't know
Okay.
for sure, but
Yeah, well, I'm hoping because he actually does make a difference when he's in there. But we're gonna have to. You can't let him sit back there and pick us apart. But yeah,
right,
he is mobile, so you can't just blitz all day. They'll just find a way to get people out in the open or if he breaks through, then he's going on a long run.
right,
I think our run defense is fairly solid. Um, so I'm hoping, at least they don't let them do whatever they want. If we can control the run game, then maybe you can make some adjustments to help out on the passing game. But if they're doing both, it's going to be another long day.
right. Yeah. Okay. And let's do a few over unders and then we'll do the game prediction and then we're going to close out this Jets Dallas preview show. All right, let me start with Ray. Let me get the negative out of the way first. Okay. Jets penalties, 7.5, over under.
I'll go I'll go under. I think they're going
Okay.
to have seven.
All right, there you go. All right. I think seven's a good number, right, Ralph?
No, I'm going to go over.
Ralph's going
This team is ridiculous. Although, in the Tampa game, I don't know if you didn't see that, Marty. Ray, they were throwing flags at Tampa.
Oh,
It was like they were
yeah.
handing the game to the Jets. Of course, they didn't take it.
No,
But
yeah.
so that was one time that the Jets weren't the most penalized team.
right. Okay.
We still had our share in that
We
game.
had our share. They had double
They had
digits
both.
early. It was ridiculous.
One
Right.
drive where
And
they ended up kicking the field goal when they could have done what were there like six penalties on that
I know,
drive?
and the fans, I thought, were going to storm the field. It was really.
All right, Ralph, you're next. Last week he had over 300 yards total offense between his touchdown run and his passing. Justin Fields total offense 250 yards running
Yeah,
and
I'll
passing.
go. I'll go over with that.
Okay, Ray.
Yeah, I think we can get that, especially at home. I think we can do that.
I agree. I think that I put that number a little too low. All right, we'll start with Ray. Jet sacks, a half a sack, over or under.
Ooh. Because he is mobile, that kind of gets him in trouble sometimes. I'll say over. We'll get one.
Ralph?
I think they'll get one or two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to get one. I think it's going to come from our secondary. Hopefully, they won't fan on the tackle. Hopefully, Sauce will hit them low if it's Sauce. But I'm going to say they're going to get at least one, too. All right. All right. Ralph, this is for you. Nick Falk, 2.5 field goals, over or under?
Over.
Okay,
I
over.
mean, he kicked 250 pluses last week. It's like I don't expect the Jets to get it to the end zone enough. So yeah.
Right. Ray, how about you? Over or under?
Yeah, I'll go over. I think we'll be able to move the ball. I just haven't seen us been real good at getting it to the end zone. So, but I think we can get it in field goal range a number of times.
Okay. I'm so sick of, settling for field goals. You have no idea.
Yeah.
We can't finish these goddamn drives. It just drives me nuts. For the last century, it's just unbelievable. Ralph, or let's start with Ray. Brees Hall, 75 yards rushing.
Yeah, I think he'll go over. I know they'll be focusing on him, but I think our running game's good enough, and I think he'll break at least one that'll get him over that.
Okay. Ralph, how about
Yeah,
you?
I think so too. He's going to get more touches with Braylon Allen out, so sure.
Right. Okay. Did I ask the Garrett Wilson question or no?
No.
No. All right. Ralph, start with
You
you.
also didn't answer for the Brees Hall one either.
Oh, I didn't answer? Yeah, but did I ask the Garrett Wilson? No. All right. Brees
No.
Hall, I think he'll go over. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. All right, we'll start. I'm going to start so I don't skip myself. Garrett Wilson, 90 yards receiving. I think he's going to have a great game. That's my prediction. I think he's going to be super. Whoever's on him, I don't know if they're going to put uh, Diggs on him or the other guy, Bland, but I don't think it matters. I think he's going to have an outstanding game. So I'm going to say over. Ray, how about you? 90 yards. Garrett Wilson, over under.
Well, they all know he's the only option. But if we can just get Arian Smith or somebody to just have a big play to the other side and make him think there's two receivers out there, I think I think he can go over. Yeah, I'm not sold that it's gonna be very easy, but I think he can go over.
Ralph, how about you?
I'm going to say under. I think some team is going to be smart enough to double him all the time. Maybe Dallas will
Yeah.
make
Okay.
someone else beat him.
I want to ask you each a question. I want to start with Ralph. We don't see practices. We don't see how they interact in the locker room. We don't see anything with these guys' personal life. But is it strange to you with all the issues they're having, kickoff and punt returns, and what we saw with Jamal Pritchard in the preseason, that they haven't brought him up yet? Ralph?
Yeah, I wish they would, and I don't understand. They get, when a guy is an undrafted free agent, he's got to do 1,000 times better to prove himself. Even though if he's a little better, he should get a chance. But that's the prejudice in the NFL. It's not a total meritocracy. I mean, if you're a second round draft pick and you've been outplayed by an undrafted free agent, the second round pick is going to still get the slot on this squad. That's just the way it works.
Okay, Ray, how about your thoughts on Jamal Pritchard?
Well, like you said, we don't see the practices and stuff, and the only reason that makes me wonder is they've had now they've made they brought guys on who like this Khalil, I can't Herbert, or
Herbert, yeah.
he could be a returner. He grabbed the guy from Detroit there, Williams, and said he could be the returner, and you got the guy in the practice squad that you don't bring up. It makes me question that there's something that he's not doing, maybe that's got him. Not saying they're down on him, but they're wanting to see something more from him in some way.
Who's returning punts? Nobody punts in these games, so it's so rare. Is it
Isaiah Davis return one?
a punt? I don't know. What about the guy? What's his name? Marcus Williams or whatever his name is. The guy who's botched everything. What's his
I,
name?
Isaiah Williams.
Isaiah Williams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he
Yeah,
been doing it?
I'm not sure. I didn't want to look it up.
Well, I know he's the one who fair caught the ball at the 2 yard line and
Oh,
then
that's
turned
right. Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the end
I
zone.
mean, this guy fumbles. He does mental mistakes. I mean, I don't know what they see in the guy, and I certainly think Pritchard could do that kind of bad stuff just as
But
easily.
it's Ralph. We all think that, but we were all shocked that they didn't protect him on the 53-man roster. So maybe, we're not as smart as we think we are because no other teams picked him up out of 31 teams.
That's true, but that doesn't mean he's not capable of being an NFL player. All we know is, and every Jet fan saw it in the preseason, he was by far the most exciting player when with the ball in his hands of all of those types. And if Isaiah Williams had shown something, I'd understand. But he's been garbage, and he's slow. He offers nothing as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. All right, we're going to close. Anything else you guys want
Yeah,
to add?
I saw a
Good.
stat the other day that the Jets are the first team to go 4 games without creating a turnover in like God knows how long.
Yeah.
How long is this going to go on for? What's
Just keeps going on and on and on. If there's a fumble, the Jets don't recover.
it's just unbelievable because fumbles are so random. They bounce
I,
funny, get slip out of guys' hands. You would think without even trying they'd get one or two
I
occasionally.
I
It's
see
like,
other teams make these plays that it's not the Jets don't know how to do it. I see like I think it was last week the Giants, Dexter Lawrence. He's double teamed the line of scrimmage, sticks his hand up, blocks the ball, picks it up, he runs to the goal. He got tackled like at the 2 yard line. It was a brilliant play, but we don't. I remember Queen Williams did that a few years ago, I believe. But we just
yeah, yeah, he knocked
we,
down
we don't
Hill.
see the Jets doing this stuff. That's why I was trying to tell my wife. I said, after Garrett Wilson made that catch on the pass interference and then the touchdown catch, I said he's going to go to waste because the Jets never get players like this. These type
Yeah.
these playmakers. It's incredible. Ray, anything else you want to add as the we're getting ready for another beautiful Sunday at MetLife Stadium as the Dallas Cowboys, America's team comes in. Anything you want to add before we get to our game predictions?
Just a little clarification because if the people listening took what I said about Engstrom the same as Ralph, when I said I uh, I like him to be a little bit more like Ben Johnson. I didn't mean do his whole thing. I like offense coordinator to be his own guy and
Yeah.
call plays and have his own system. But I would like to see him pick things
Oh,
here,
sure. Yeah.
bring it
Right.
with him. I haven't
Yeah.
seen any, and that's
And
what I'm
yeah,
referring to.
which is
This,
interesting, Ray, what you said, because I just finished another book called it's coming out in March. It's called T-Ball Myths and Solutions. But one of my recommendations for these young parents, either mothers or fathers that become coaches, is you've probably played in high school and you played for a coach you like. Take bits and pieces from these people, but form your own philosophy.
yeah.
So you bring out a great point. All right, let's get to the game predictions as Marty is hawking his new book coming out in a few months, which you're going to hear more about.
Can I get an autographed copy of that?
You can get an autographed copy. I will personalize it.
Because I am going to join a T-ball league this year.
But there you go, Ralph.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Ralph's in the T-Ball Union. All right. I'm going to predict first. I think it's going to be a wide open game, and I think it's going to be kind of like a roller coaster for Jet fans. Happy, sad, happy, sad. But I think we're going to come out on top. And I'm saying the Jets are going to win this game 31-24. And we're all going to be like hypnotized with the game that Justin Fields has. Because keep in mind, Marty always says he's not going to have 2 good games in a row. So I'm going to say 31-24. Ralph.
Well, I remember the first week everyone said take the under in the Pittsburgh Jet game, and of course it went way over. So I'm going to do the same thing this week. Everyone's saying take the over. I'm going to go under. Nothing ends up turning out the way you expect it to be. So I'll go 17-13 Jets. I think the Jets are going to win the game. And Justin Fields statistically last week had a good week, Marty. So he should
I
be
know he did.
due for
That's
a
what
bad one.
you can't go by that garbage statistics. Ralph, he holds them. He doesn't, he's not decisive. I told you, 2 of those Mason Taylor pass receptions, he should have got the ball to him sooner. I
Well, yeah, I know. I look. I don't think he's any great shakes either. But I like I said, if you're going the Marty theory that he has one good game, one bad game. I mean, his statistically, I looked at his. I couldn't believe it because he to the eye test, it didn't look like he was that effective. But
Yep, that's right. All
who
right,
knows?
and Ralph, imagine if they that included the touchdown that was called back on Garrett Wilson. He would look like a superstar, his stats.
Yeah, he would have probably been player of the week, offensive player of the week.
Ray, your prediction now for the Jets
I
and the
hate
Cowboys.
uh, party pooper of the bunch, but until I see our defense can at least keep them somewhat in check. Although if Ralph's right and it's like 17-14, you know that's going to be a penalty turnover slop fest of a
Yeah,
game. Um, I think it'll be a high. I don't know what the over under is, but I think it's going to be like, like 28 20. No, I'd hate to say 28-27, but 28-27 Dallas. I think it might be we blow one really late. I'm hoping not. I hope you guys are right, but I gotta see something. I gotta see something out of this defense that says they can, especially if they need a stop late. That'll give me so much hope for the future. If they make a stop late to preserve the lead, that would be outstanding. But I
Right.
have no defense.
Ray, according to Chat GPT, the over under the latest for the Jets Cowboys, any guesses?
43.
Ray,
38.
47 and a half.
I was going to say 48.
Yeah. So, and I was
Shit.
thinking of the number 40, so that's pretty high. So, all right, listen, Jets Rewind fans, enjoy the game and enjoy, spend some time with your family, at least in the morning. It should be a nice day. So, with that said, for Ray, Ralph, and myself, until next time.